إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه. If you show some good, أو تخفوه, or you conceal it, أو تعفو عن سوء, or pardon an offense, فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا. Then indeed Allah is ever pardoning and He is also competent. إن تبدوا. In over here is connected with the previous ayah. What does the previous ayah say? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not like evil words to be uttered except by the one who has been wronged. So those people who have been wronged, who have been treated unjustly, they're being told that if you show some good, meaning instead of showing su in your response to the person who has oppressed you, instead, if you show some good, like if a person is saying harsh words to you, and instead of using harsh words for them, you use polite words, you use kind words, you use good words. أو تخفوه, or you hide the good, meaning you do it secretly. أو تعفو عن سوء, or you just pardon the evil. You just pardon the offense. You just forgive the other person for the harsh words that he has said to you. Then remember that Allah is afu and He is also qadir. That He pardons people despite being capable of punishing people. Who are you? Who are you? You're only a human being. If somebody treats you unjustly, can you really take revenge from them fully? No, you can't. You're not qadir. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, while He is qadir, still He forgives, then why should you not forgive? Because when we read the previous ayah, we knew that we should defend ourselves. Right? But over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages us that if you forgive and save yourself from uttering evil words even, that's much better for you. That's much better for you. And notice it has been said that tubdu khayran, you show good, aw tukhfuhu, or you hide it. Many times, it is difficult to show good in response to evil that has been shown to a person. Isn't it? Somebody saying harsh words to you, it's very difficult for you to say good words. And sometimes, and you know how it has been said, أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ, or you hide it in your heart. Sometimes you're very positive in your heart. You're being very patient in your heart. Somebody's saying harsh words to you, and inside, you're thinking positive, you're saying positive things, but it's difficult to show, to express good words. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody's being very mean to you. In your heart, you're not yelling back at them. But in your heart, you're being very positive. You're telling yourself, it's okay. Allah is listening. Allah is watching. But we don't go beyond that. We just stop at that stage. We don't go beyond that. What does Allah say? If you show good, meaning you express something good, you say something good in response. أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ, or you hide it, you do it secretly. أَوْ تَعْفُوا عَنْ سُوءٍ, or you pardon the evil that has been done to you. فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَفُوًّا قَدِيرًا. Indeed, Allah is most pardoning, and He's also qadir. What does this show to us? First of all, this ayah teaches us that although it is permissible to take revenge, it is permissible to supplicate against the oppressor, to complain to other people about the wrong that is being done to a person, it is definitely better to forgive. It is definitely better to forgive. Especially when it comes to, minor issues, small issues. Little things. Little things. Like for example, if, there's a girl, she's living with her husband, maybe with her in-laws, and maybe one of her in-laws says something harsh to her. Now, it's only words. It wasn't that harsh. It was only words. It was only a few words of lesser degree of harshness. Now in that case, does it really make sense to call your mother, who is living in a different city, who's living in a different country, and you're telling her, my mother-in-law said this to me today? Does it really make sense to do that? No. Can your mother do anything? No. She's only going to feel helpless. She's only going to feel very sorry for you. Then she's going to feel angry. That's it. She cannot do anything else. So especially when it comes to little issues, when it comes to small matters, we shouldn't make a big deal out of them. Just because somebody said something harsh to you, you start crying and you tell your friends and you tell your parents and you tell your relatives. No. Especially if it's something very small. If it's something major, then yes, you need to defend yourself. But if it's something small, then don't make a big issue out of it. So although it is permissible to take revenge, however, it is always better to forgive the other person. And instead of showing su in response, it is better to show some khair in response. We learn in Surah Ash-Shura, ayah number 40, وَجَزَاءُ سَيِّئَةٍ سَيِّئَةٌ مِثْلُهَا فَمَنْ عَفَى وَأَصْلَحَ فَأَجْرُهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And the retribution for an evil action is an evil one like it. What's the retribution for an evil action that has been done? An evil action that is similar to it. If somebody says harsh words to you, you have the right to say the exact same words to them. But whoever pardons, فَمَنْ عَفَى, whoever pardons, وَأَصْلَحَ, and he makes reconciliation, then his reward is due from Allah. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward him. So it is definitely better to forgive the other person. And many times what do we think? That if we forgive them, if we don't say something harsh to them in response, what does that mean? We're weak. We cannot defend ourselves. And we think that, you should stand up for yourself, and if somebody's saying harsh to you, you should defend yourself and not give them a chance to say anything harsh to you. The Prophet ﷺ said, مَا نَقَصَ مَالٌ مِّن صَدَقَةٍ وَلَا زَادَ اللَّهُ عَبْدًا بِعَفْوٍ إِلَّا عِزًّا وَمَنْ تَوَاضَعَ لِلَّهِ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ. No charity shall ever decrease wealth, and Allah will only increase the honor of a servant who pardons. Allah will only increase what? The honor of the slave, of the servant who pardons other people. We think that when we're forgiving people, we're humiliating ourselves. We're being a pushover. What does the hadith tell us? That if a person pardons, then he will only be increased in his honor. And he who is humble for Allah's sake, then Allah will elevate his grade. Allah will elevate his rank. So many times we think that if we forgive the other person, if we don't say something harsh in response, then we're being weak. However, if a person forgives the other, he's actually increasing in his honor in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ also said that I guarantee a house in the surroundings of paradise for a man who avoids quarreling, who avoids dispute, even if he is in the right. Even if he is in the right, meaning he is on the truth. And a house in the middle of paradise for a man who avoids lying, even if he were joking. And a house in the upper part of paradise for a man who made his character good. So, a house for a person in the surroundings of paradise. Which person? The one who does not dispute even when he knows he is right. Because many times what happens? Somebody says harsh words to you. You defend yourself and you say something in response. What's going to happen? They're going to say something else. You're going to say something else. And it's going to lead to back and forth and an argument. So if you know that you're right, and you know that this conversation is only going to lead up to an argument, what's better? That a person gives up his right in hopes of reward for what? Reward of what? A house in paradise. We also learn from this ayah that a person should remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pardons the sins of slaves despite being able to punish. Despite being competent, despite having qudra. So, why should we not forgive? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is much greater, much higher, much more exalted, much more powerful. And people sin day in and day out. Does He inflict punishment right away? No, He doesn't. He forgives people. He defers punishment for them. Why do we think that if somebody says something harsh to us, we have to respond immediately? Why? Or if they have said something, we have to respond. Why do we think like that? Just think about it. People are saying lies against Allah. Lies against Allah all the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not punish immediately. So why should we not forgive? A companion of the Prophet ﷺ once glorified Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he said, Subhanaka wa bihamdika ala hilmika ba'da ilmika. Subhanaka وَبِحَمْدِكَ. What does that mean? Glorified are you. Praiseworthy are you. عَلَى حِلْمِكَ. For what? Your tolerance. What is hilm? Tolerance, forbearance. بَعْدَ عِلْمِكَ. Even though you have knowledge. Sometimes we don't know what other people are saying about us. So obviously we're tolerant. But if you find out that somebody said one negative word about you, how do we think? What do we think? Immediately we become, flared up with anger, with feelings of revenge. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanaka wa bihamdika ala hilmika ba'da ilmika. That you know all that we do, all that we say, but despite that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is most tolerant. And He said, subhanaka wa bihamdika ala afwika ba'da qudratika. Ala afwika ba'da qudratika. That glorified are you for your forgiveness. Ba'da qudratika, even though you have perfect ability to punish. Even though you have the qudra to punish people. So we see over here, when we put both of these ayats together, that one is that a person who has been wronged, he takes revenge, he defends himself. And this is a rukhsah. This is an allowance, a permission that is being given to those people who cannot do sabr, those people who do not have any hilm, those people who do not have tolerance. And the other command is of azima. What does that mean? It is the level of nobleness. It's the highest form of character. You need determination in order to follow this command through. Which command? That even though somebody is wronging you, what do you do in response? Say something that is good. Show something that is good. And remember, tubdu is not taqulu. Tubdu is not taqulu. Taqulu would be just to say. But tubdu is that you show, whether it's in the form of words or gestures. Because sometimes, somebody is yelling at us. Even if we can't say good words, we could smile. We could smile. So, the first command is for those people who don't have sabr, who don't have any tolerance, who want to take revenge. And the other is for those who have sabr, for those who have hilm. Someone asked Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu that how many times should someone forgive another? Really? What's the maximum? Like, to what extent should you forgive the other person? To what extent should you pardon the other person? The other day when we learned about compromising, especially in married life, many people came and asked that, okay, what's the limit? How much do you compromise? When do you know that this is getting too much? And when do you know that you should not compromise anymore? Many people ask this. So similarly, Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, he was asked that how many times should someone forgive another? Because otherwise we become like pushovers. He said, forgive 70 times. Forgive how many times? 70 times. And if you have forgiven the other 70 times, then think of taking revenge from them. We also learn a very important lesson from this ayah. That a person who forgives the faults of others, who forgives the injustice that is being done to him, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgives this person as well. Then Allah also forgives this person. Where do we learn this from? Where do we learn this from? فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَفُوًّا قَدِيرًا. That if you تُبْدُوا خَيْرًا أَوْ تُخْفُوهُ أَوْ تَعْفُوا عَنْ سُوءٍ, then فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَفُوًّا قَدِيرًا. That if you show forgiveness to the other person, then you're inviting the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for yourself. And we learn in Surah An-Nur, where Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, when his daughter Aisha radiallahu anha, when she was accused by the hypocrites, and there were some sincere believers as well who fell, prey to that propaganda, and who also started saying negative things against Aisha radiallahu anha. And one of those people was actually Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu's relatives. And he used to financially support him. And after that incident, he thought, I'm not going to support him anymore. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, أَلَا تُحِبُّونَ أَن يَغْفِرَ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ. If you forgive the other person, wouldn't you love that Allah forgives you? So what does it show? That when a person forgives other people, then he is inviting the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just think of it. Compare the injustice that has been done to you by other people to the sins that you have committed, to the injustice that you have done to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the haqq of Allah. What's worse? The wrong that you have done. Because many times we make mistakes, we don't even think that we've done something wrong. We don't even seek forgiveness. And we continue to repeat those mistakes very arrogantly, very proudly. So just compare, what is worse? The wrong that a person has done to us or the wrong that I have done in the haqq of Allah? Obviously, it's the wrong that I have done in the right of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, when a person forgives other people, then he invites the forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Recitation.
إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه أو تعفوا عن سوء فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا.
Somebody mentioned that many times we assume that other people are being unjust towards us. And then we think that we can take revenge, we can pray against him, we can say whatever we want. So first of all, we have to determine whether or not, what the other person has done to us is actually zulm. Because sometimes, for instance, a parent might be correcting the child. Now, a parent has the right to correct the child, to teach the child, to tell them about their mistake, and we think that we are being treated unjustly. That is not injustice. So don't think you have the right to answer back. No. Even sometimes with teachers or people who are older than us. So we have to be very careful about not just assuming that what the other person is telling us telling us they're doing zulm upon us. No. Anything else somebody would like to share? If you look at your sins, then it's a lot easier to forgive the other person for the wrong that they have done to you. It's very easy to, say something in return. Very easy. But it's another level that a person does not say anything that is harsh, and instead he shows that which is khair. And the incident of that companion who the Prophet ﷺ mentioned that he was going to enter Jannah. So this other companion, he went and stayed with him to figure out what special deed was he performing. And at the end he gave up and he asked him that, what is it that you do? And he said that I forgive people. And we see that how natural our deen is, that if you are able to remain patient and not say anything in return, there is definitely more reward for that. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to forgive you for the wrong that you're doing. But if you're really unable to do that, and you say something negative, which sometimes we do when we're overcome by emotion, then in that case as well, a person is allowed to do that. So it shows how natural our deen is, as long as a person remains within the limits. Many times, if somebody is saying something harsh to you, and you say something harsh to them in response, they're only going to increase in their anger, in their zulm, perhaps. But if you remain quiet, and instead you show good behavior to them, then they're going to realize their mistake, and they're going to feel bad about it. And then they're going to stop. So it's one of the most effective ways of stopping the other person. So basically we have to see the situation. We have to see the situation. If the situation requires that you definitely stop the zalim, then you have to do that. If the situation is that if you're patient and you don't say something in response because that is going to bring more good, then that is better. So you can't just generalize. Right? You have to look at each situation and then take a step accordingly. That whatever is going to bring more benefit. Let's listen to the recitation.
لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم وكان الله سميعا عليما إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه أو تعفوا عن سوء فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا.
لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم وكان الله سميعا عليما إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه أو تعفوا عن سوء سوء فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا.
لا يحب الله الجهر بالسوء من القول إلا من ظلم وكان الله سميعا عليما. إن تبدوا خيرا أو تخفوه أو تعفو عن سوء فإن الله كان عفوا قديرا.